NFL MVP frontrunner, man. Listen, based on what I've seen so far, I've alluded to this in the past couple of weeks, but I do feel like Lamar Jackson is the current MVP frontrunner, especially based off his performance this past week against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Um, Oftentimes, listen, I know he had 171 yards, he had one touchdown, one interception, 14-24. Oftentimes, we get so caught up in the stats, we get so caught up in the numbers, we forget to actually watch the game. And we have to understand that the offense that is set up in Baltimore is not set up to make big plays. It's not set up to have big numbers. It's built to wear you down. It's built to be methodical and slow paced. But they do a better job of playing from behind, which is something that Baltimore wasn't able to do in prior seasons. But I said to say Lamar Jackson does an amazing job of controlling not just tempo, but controlling the pace of the game and controlling the ball. One thing that he does a great job is not putting the ball in harm's way. I know he had a turnover today, but I think this is only his third or fourth interception on the season, which is phenomenal. And Lamar Jackson is continually finding ways to make the right play. And you notice now is he does a much better job of being poised in the pocket. He does a much better job of extending plays with his legs, not downfield, but more so laterally in terms of allowing his receivers to get open. And he also does a much better job of throwing the ball outside the numbers. Something that was one of his weaknesses his first couple years in the league was his inability to throw the ball accurately outside the numbers. And that's something that he's shown the ability to do now, especially with the addition of great receivers like Isaiah Likely and Rashad Bateman and obviously Odell Beckham Jr., and Zay Flowers, and even Nelson Aguilar, who, he didn't have a catch this past game. This is by far the best receiving core that Lamar Jackson has had throughout the entirety of his career, and it shows. Listen, he has 17 touchdowns. He has 6 interceptions. He has 3,100 total yards passing, and he has, if I'm not mistaken, let's look at his rushing yards as well. He has 741 rushing yards on the season already. So he's doing a great job of, like I said, controlling the pace of the game and extending drives. And listen, and Baltimore has one of the best defenses in the league as well. And you're led by Roquan Smith, Calvin Noy, Jadeveon Clowney, Marlon Humphreys, and Kyle Hamilton and Marcus Williams and Brandon Stevens and Patrick Queen and Michael Pierce. The list goes on and on. So I understand that Baltimore has one of the best defenses as well. But what happens is Baltimore's offense does a great job of extending drives. Lamar Jackson does a great job of extending drives and creating plays, especially on third down. It allows the defense to rest. And you guys, as football players, I'm sure you guys, football players that are watching, you guys know what it's like to stay on the sideline for extended periods of time, because not only does it give you time to rest, but it also gives you confidence in your offense to see that they can extend drives, they can stay on the field, and they can score points. And so now you don't feel as much pressure as a defense to have to get a stop every possession, because your offense will be able to get out there and score points as well. And that's what Baltimore's been able to do. They've been able to wear teams down defensively, and they've been able to extend drives and score when necessary. Offensively, I know it doesn't look pretty all the time, but they're winning games. They're 11-3. Eventually, we have to take winning into account, and we have to stop looking at style points, and we have to say, okay, are they efficient, or are they getting the job done? And that's what Baltimore's been doing. That's what Lamar Jackson's been doing. And listen, they're 11-3. I think they're the best team in the AFC. They just beat the best team in the AFC South in Jacksonville, quite convincingly, I might add. And I'm not looking at style points anymore. I'm not looking at who's leading the league in passing yards. I'm not looking at who's making the flashiest plays. I'm looking at who's efficient, and I'm looking at who's playing the quarterback position the right way. and who's actually leading their team to success and making their team better. And I would say Lamar Jackson is doing that. I have Lamar Jackson as my NFL MVP front runner, and if I had to vote, I would vote for him as my MVP right now, based on what I've seen so far. And can things change? Obviously, things can very well change, but at this point in the season, we're going into week 16. I have Lamar Jackson as my MVP because Lamar Jackson just continues to find ways to win, and this has been a staple point of his career. When healthy, his team, Baltimore, wins. Baltimore is always has at least 10 or 11 wins. Once the Raiders go up, it seems like no one can come back. I agree, Dre. I agree. Once the Raiders grow up, seems like no one can come back. Yeah, I think it's because of their defense. I think obviously their defense is one of the best in the NFL. I think right behind San Francisco. But the offense does a great job, like I said, of extending drives. Obviously, the running back core of Gus Edwards, Justice Hill, and Keaton Mitchell. I do want to say, though, Keaton Mitchell has just been ruled out for the rest of the season due to a knee injury. So that could be a little cause for concern for Baltimore. But I wouldn't be too concerned because, once again, Lamar Jackson is still there. And like I said, Lamar Jackson has over 730 yards rushing on the season. So losing Keaton Mitchell won't be too big of a loss because they'll be able to replace that. And mind you, Lamar Jackson is doing all this without his number one receiver. And I always forget the brother's name. He's the tight end. The tight end that Mark Andrews. He's doing this without Mark Andrews and the running back that's out for the year as well. His name is J.K. Dobbins. He's also doing that without J.K. Dobbins and Mark Andrews as well. So, two of his best playmakers. So, coupled with all that, Lamar Jackson is my NFL MVP frontrunner right now. But I'd love to know what you guys think. Leave your thoughts in the comment section. And like Dre said, as you guys know, Dre is our NFL enthusiast, and he's our expert on this platform when it comes to the NFL MVP. And he normally gets things right, and he has Christian McCaffrey or Brock Purdy for MVP. So, like I said, be sure to check out our Instagram live show this Thursday, where he'll be giving his. I'm sure he's going to explain to you guys why he feels that way. But guys, in our next segment, we are going to be discussing America's favorite team, the Dallas Cowboys, and the performance they put on against the Buffalo Bills, and whether this means Buffalo is finally turning the corner. Do they have a chance of making the playoffs now? So be sure to stick around for that, guys. You're not going to miss it. We'll be right back.